Hey, what's up, you guys? On today's video, I want to talk a little bit about the whole process of uploading an app on Flippa. In my last video, I talked about the description specifically, but it seems like some people want to know like the whole process. So I want to just start from the basics and get to listing an app on Flippa. So once you get in Flippa, this is like what the main homepage looks like. So this is where you would start off if you just typed in flippa.com and went to this site. So from here, you want to go to Start Selling. And then since we're doing apps, you want to click on Apps. And right here, you're going to put the URL of the app you want to sell into here. So let me get one of my apps real quick. So usually you would just find whatever app you were trying to sell and get its URL. So I just view my app on the App Store. Here's Quick Chat Messenger. I paste that URL into here and I press Get Started. So after that, you get into the listing page where you put some of its basic information. If you're also doing an Android app, you can press that, but I'm not, so I leave that like that. Then you say when your app went live. I released my app in April 2018. Then you select the industry. It's a chat app, so I would say it's internet. And then you refine the industry, and then you go to social media. So then you put the average monthly downloads. My app I just released, so it's not getting any downloads. I didn't advertise it or anything, so I'm just going to leave it at 0. Since this app is a reskin that I created and I've sold it multiple times, I say it is a reskin. I typically say no for source code because this allows me to retain the rights for the source code. You can select yes if you're including the source code, but that also gives them all the rights to the source code. So I usually select no and then specify that I will put in their Dropbox the source code. It's a little bit confusing, but it just allows me to keep selling it over and over again. And my app does not generate revenue, but if it did, you would just select yes, put in the average revenue, and then select your monetization method. But we'll go with no for this one. And then we get back to the description page, which I already went through in the last video. There's a lot of stuff to know about this, so if you haven't watched the video about Flippa descriptions, you should do that, because this is a very key component to selling the app. So I'm not going to talk about that in this video, since that takes a while to talk about, but I'll just fill this with some like random info. Okay. So usually I set my auction duration to 14 days because that's what Flippa recommends. And I found after testing multiple links that 14 really is the best. I've done 7. Sometimes it does okay, but sometimes it's not long enough to get a lot of watchers and bidders. And 30 is usually too long because then you can't sell the app as many times. And usually I sell the same app once every 14 days since that's the duration of the auction. And with a 30-day auction, you need to make at least double to make it worth it to do the 30-day, and usually that doesn't happen, so that's why I stick with 14. Okay, we're still good. Alright, so anyways, I would recommend going with 14. You can test some other stuff out if you want to, but really, I would just go with this, especially if it's your first time. You'll get the best outcome. And then now here's the pricing, which is another important part. For my auctions, I always just go with a $1 starting price and a $1 reserve. So this means any bids on it, the reserve will already be passed, and they'll win the app no matter what. If you only want to accept a certain price for the auction, you can set the reserve to say like 100 or 1,000, and then that means you're only going to sell the app to them if it passes this number. But I found if you set a reserve there's not as many bidders usually because they know that there's a reserve and they have to pass that price. So I like to keep it with no reserve. So a lot of people bid on it and they know if they are the highest bidder, they're going to win it no matter what, regardless of since the reserve is 0 or 1 in this case. But anyway, then you can set up buy it now price, which is optional, but I always recommend doing this because even though not many people purchase through buy it now, occasionally you'll get one and it'll make you a lot of money. Like one time someone did buy it now for one of my apps for $2,000 and the auction just ended instantly, got $2,000, so that was very nice. But again, that's not very common. This really depends on your app and what you think it's worth. Usually I like to do it for at least $1,000, if not like even 9,999, which is the max for PayPal, which I always use. You can go higher if you use Flippa escrow, but I usually don't use that. And I always show the reserve price because, like it says here, it's a better way to get bidders. Anyways, I always have no reserve, so it doesn't really affect it that much. So for this, let's just say my buy it now is 4,997. Then you can move on to the next one. And at this point, you're going to have to choose a package. I usually go standard for most of my basic apps, but if I have an advanced app that I think can really go for a lot, I buy the show off, which it gives you a basic listing. It gives you a bold listing title, an app homepage feature, highlighted listing and search results. So really this just gets you a lot more visibility and a lot more bidders and watchers, which will hopefully increase the price of your app. I found it really does work. Whenever I purchase this, it does go for a significant amount. I don't think I've had one that I've purchased this for that's gone for under $500, so I think it's a pretty good investment. And one time I did buy the premium for $250. It actually got my app to $3,000 that time, so I think this is probably worth it too, but it's a little risky, so I normally don't do that one. But I think if you have the money and you think your app is very valuable, then this could be something good. But if it's your first time and you don't have much money, I would just go with the standard because that always works well too. I never really use any of these, so I'm not really going to go into it that much. Then you can select either payment with credit card or PayPal. I always do PayPal. I'm not going to pay for this one because I didn't actually put in like a legit description and everything. I am going to list this later, but so once you do this, you pay through PayPal and everything. Then in how do you get paid, you choose either Flippa escrow or PayPal. I always choose PayPal because I've had a bad experience with Flippa escrow before. It took like a whole month, and I sold one of my apps. Like a month later, I still didn't have my money, and then it ended up something happened with the payment from the buyer, and he never ended up paying, and basically a whole month got wasted, and I had to relist the app again. So I'm never going to use Flippa escrow again. But if you want to, some people have a good experience, so you can give it a try. It also takes away from part of the success fee. I think it's like 10% instead of 15% if you use Flippa escrow, so that could be something good too. So give it a try, and if you guys use it, let me know how it goes. So after you select the payment, you just verify the revenue and expenses by putting in some numbers and screenshots. And you also have to put in a little code into your app's support URL and get that verified. So recently Apple disabled editing the support URL without updating your app. So Flippa's having some problems now because of that. So for right now, you probably have to contact customer support to have them verify it for you. Usually it's easier, but Apple always tries to make things more difficult. So anyway, that's basically the process of listing an app on Flippa. Again, I just breezed through the description part because I already have a video about that that's already like 15 minutes long. So if you want to check that out, that'll give you a lot of insight into that. So that's basically how I list my apps. It usually takes about 30 minutes, maybe less, to do a whole listing like this. So it doesn't take too much time. Then you wait 14 days, and then you make money from your app. So it's pretty good. If you guys have any comments or questions, remember just leave a comment, and let me know also what videos you guys want to see, and I'll make those too. Hopefully soon I'll be able to make a lot more videos. I've been pretty busy lately, but school will be out for me soon, so I can make more videos. Anyway, thanks for watching this one, guys, and I'll see you next time.